It's the Cable
In terms of first picks, the cards that make sense to me here are Fractured, Fablein, and Mother of Runes. Thinking about Fablein. Kind of in a Fable mood. Ooh, into Ragavan. Ooh, but there's Minsc & Boo. I think I'm going to Minsc & Boo over Ragavan. We just drafted green, but maybe that's fine, huh? Hey, Wafflebot, thanks for the sub. Thanks for 44 months there. He loves people and attention. He should be a streamer. He should be a streamer. Back-to-back build decks. Could be worse. Could be worse. That is a dope dinner. I'm so fucking lucky. Thinking about Once Upon a Time. I'm going to grab that Pyrokinesis, actually. A little bit of free interaction. Free spells are fucking broken. Lavamancer certainly has its uses. We have a free spell. We don't have any fetches yet. We want fetches with Bill anyway. And then we have Fable Looting. Can just like fill up the bin for the Lavamancer too. Back-to-back Badger Mold decks. Sure. Do I like staying 2-color? Typically, yeah. The cards that could pull me out, obviously, blues got Time Walk and Recall. We're green, offers a little bit of fixing there. Fable makes treasure. It wouldn't be impossible to do a blue splash. White has a Johnny. Wouldn't be a large draw towards white. If the mana was free enough, Parallax Wave actually solves a lot of problems for green-red decks. But, you know, the mana would have to be pretty free. Mystic works with Badger Mole Cub. Then there's a Thornspire Verge over there. Let's just grab Mystic here. What are the odds that Titania comes back? It seems like all of the green cards are wheeling. Just think about this Zernor versus City Traders. City Traders might let us power out the good stuff quickly. I think I'm going to grab it. It's not an ideal fetch, but we do have 2 Landfall Critters, so we're going to grab the Fabled Passage here. Channel Dark Depths. You have to gain some life first. So as good as Recall is, and we do have Eternal Witness to potentially rebuy it, we're going to take Mox Pearl here. And just power out our stuff fast. Nice pack. Excellent pack. The feeling when you pass Ancestral Recall and get past Oko. I think I'm going to pass the Oko too. Let's grab Sneak Attack. Fucking Emrakul waiting room here. I typically do count Once Upon a Time as a land, but it kind of depends too. Depends on the deck. You're right that it's kind of half a land. We have 1 mana dork. I wouldn't mind another. I think I'm going to grab Inti. Plays well with the Fable and stuff. Can give Trample to large bristly bills. Wow. Usually I really like Strip Mine Recursion in the green decks. We really need fetches, though. With all of our landfall shenanigans, the Titania here. I guess Titania Strip Mine's pretty good. It's like our fetch land, you know? I think I'm in the minority, but I'm going to grab the Wooded Foothills. Pest Infestation's pretty good. There was the chance for a Nadu splash there. Thinking about Ice Till, thinking about Noble, thinking about Oliphant. Oliphant's kind of good in sneak attack decks. Pitches to the Pyrokinesis as well. Kind of knew this was going to happen when I passed that Zernor. Fetches are lining up, though. I don't need that Dismember either. Springheart Wheel, nice. Lumberjack makes the Prime and the Titania look a lot better. I think there's a good chance that the Sneak Attack consideration for Oliphant is bunk. Because we just haven't been finding anything for it, right? On average, is Selesnya the worst cube combination? I feel like half the time I get stipped to force Selesnya, I end up doing pretty well. It helps that white's the best color, right? So white X can only be so bad. I would argue that Selesnya is the least beloved cube color combination. Ice Explorer, pretty good one to play off a Lumberjack, huh? Woodfall Primus does play well with Sneak Attack. Thanks for putting up with my crunchings and munchings, by the way. I have defeated my dinner. Yeah, it's whether you want a Woodfall Primus here or a Chain Lightning, I think. Having any interaction at all might be good. Yeah, if it was an Emrakul, I'd feel a little different. I think the Bloodbraid Challenger wheels an awful lot of the time. That said, it's not like we've got like a bunch of Taigas and stuff. And it is the best card here for me by a country mile, so I'm just going to grab it. Make sure I get it. Be jealous of whoever gets this Psychic Frog. Well, speak of the Taiga. Valporn Tyrant does give us Sneak. It's also just very castable. I'm going to grab it. Yeah, anytime I have a card set aside that's not in, like, the curve order, it's usually because it's, like, a consideration. I'm like, setting it here so I don't forget about it. But it's not necessarily in the deck. This band, Nuclear Power Trio, is actually going to start playing shows. Kind of excited about that. Little Soul Cauldron action. Yeah, I don't think we're triggering that cutter very often. We didn't find anything for the channel to do, but it could be a reasonable Sneak Attack. The other option here is grabbing the Bauble, I guess. Now I need one more playable. You didn't know this band's gimmick and checking out their socials was like a flashbang? Yeah, they got like the Point Break thing going on. At least that's what it reminds me of. You haven't seen Point Break? If you are a fan of bromances, seeing two dudes just become extremely attached to one another, if you like exciting bank robberies, if you enjoy some gorgeous surfing shots, then Point Break is worth checking out. I'm not going to play Sundering Eruption, no. I don't think. Maybe I should, huh? Yeah, I guess I jam it. It's an awkward cascade off the Bloodbraid Challenger. I don't know how much that should dissuade me, though. You want to see an unexciting bank robbery? I expect that's most of them. I remember back when someone could, like, post a story on the internet and everybody didn't just, like, immediately assume it was fake. Back before the internet was just dominated by AI slop and stuff. The reason I bring that up is I remember reading a story by a self-confessed bank robber, and he posted how he did it on Reddit, like some years back. And basically, he learned that obviously don't go rob banks with any of this. He learned that if the amount was like low enough, if he just asked for what was in the register, what they had right there, the bank tellers were trained to just give it to them instead of like risk a violent altercation in the middle of the bank, because that's much more expensive. So he would go in and just like slide a note across the table asking for like a few grand or whatever in a bag, and then he would just leave, be in and out in a few minutes. And obviously that's not enough to retire on, but he just did it like over and over and over again. Supposedly some of it was confirmed. Am I referring to Nico Walker? I might have. Might be. If he did a Reddit AMA. Is Prime Tyrant enough to run the sneak? I mean, if you're not doing that, you're playing some real mediocre shit. So, yeah, I think so. There's going to be spots where you can just cast them, too, because the Ice Till ramps you and the Lumberjack ramps you. And Nissa just gets you there. Considering not playing the Once Upon a Time, I don't know if that's crazy. Crazy. You're crazy, Caleb. I guess. I almost like one more forest. Anyway, I expect it to be fairly similar till the end. How many weeks am I taking off when I hit 365? I'm planning on 2 separate trips. One, the honeymoon that I put off. And one camping trip up in Montana to disconnect for a bit. I don't think I want to bin this Oliphant, because I think the Oliphant might be very castable. Anyway, I'm looking forward to both of those ventures quite a bit. They're going to be in back-to-back months, so spread out a little bit, but it'll still be plenty of vacation for little old me. Maybe I'll do a short, like, 2-day camping trip right after the 365. We'll see. Glacier National Park is gorgeous. Not sure what part of Montana I'm going to. That part. I'm going specifically to Glacier National Park. The Blackfeet tribe partnered with a metal festival, and they host Fire in the Mountains there. And it's there's a lot of like cultural exchange between the tribe and the metalheads. They do a lot of good for charity, raise a lot of funds combating suicide on native reservations. And then, like you said, the place is gorgeous. And because of its like mission purpose, it's also a dry festival, which I've never been to, but I'm excited to be around folks that are just there for the community, the music and stuff. Should be cool. As much as I like my Boozahol, I can certainly abstain for a week. Especially for the lineup. Fucking 16 horsepower. Hasn't played a show in like 20 years. And then they've got a bunch of doom and black metal bands and stuff. Gonna get to see Yob again. Should be a great place to see Yob. One of my very favorites. Sumerlands that I play on stream a lot. They play like a heavy metal. They're gonna be jamming. I'm gonna get to see Baroness again. Now I'm just listing names. That's gotta be real interesting, right? Oh, cool, fucking magical. Good luck with your endeavor. Have I heard of Sonic Temple? I have. Fat Wesker. Never been. Hell yeah, Milkman. We'll both be free together. Dry, so still weed, right? It would be a difficult thing to to try and enforce. I mentioned Yob was playing, right? I guess you keep this. Looks a little slow in comparison to our last hand. I'm gonna bin the Oliphant this time is why I'm running the Mox out. Caleb bounced off Hollow Knight. Yeah, I didn't have the I never really gave it a shake, to be honest. I think I like fired it up like literally once and was like, oh, I'm too tired for this. So I can play the Baloth Prime, but then I'm like not really doing much next turn. I think I want to crack the Field Passage for a second Forest and just cycle the Jetmir's Garden. Destroying their duel. I think I'd rather keep it as a land. They just go get a swamp and they're still fine, right? They're sitting there with their blue man up. I think I'd rather play Bloodbraid Challenger than one of my primos here into a counter. I guess the sneak attack will probably force the issue as to whether or not they've got a counter for me. With the sneak it resolved, I was looking forward to finagling some kind of sneak out both Ice Till and Baloth Prime, make a bunch of 4/4s on their end of turn plan. Sure. A more confident counter. Oof. It being mana drain. Seven mana. Okay. I was worried about them playing Ugin there for a second and exiling my Bloodbraid. That would be a bummer. Voidwalker could help with an exiling. I still is actually very awkward against Voidwalker. I'm gonna play it anyway here. You've been liking Bloodbraid this cube? Bloodbraid's just a really good card. One of the most difficult cards to grind out. Most escape cards have like escape 6 or something. Escape 3 feels trivial. Especially because the Bloodbraid comes with an extra card, so whatever the card that it shows up with is going to add to the escape 3. Yeah. Sure. Did I watch The Last of Us? I watched the first season. I liked the Jim Offerman side plot episode. But I realized I liked that episode much more than the rest of the show, so I didn't really stick with it. I think I'm gonna show it to my wife. And just like the one episode. We don't have to watch the whole show, don't worry. Just a one and done. What show? We're talking about the Last of Us. Game of Thrones felt like that. You wish you stopped watching before season 8. Yeah, I feel that. When I went back years later and did a Game of Thrones rewatch, I actually enjoyed it a lot more. I just skipped all of the episodes that I knew would enrage me. Basically, all the torture episodes. Just like, I just watched that show with no torture porn, no child abuse, and no entire episodes shot in the dark for no fucking reason. And the whole show was about half as long, and I really enjoyed it. I was like, this was sick. This was this was great. The Caleb cut, yeah. You love pitch black shots streamed with the worst compression algorithm in the universe. Right? I remember when that fucking episode aired, and some people were like, you just have to turn the brightness of your TV up. And I was like, fine, asshole, I'll try that. And so I like turned it up until I could like see what was going on, and everything just looks like washed out to shit, because obviously that's what happens when you take a completely pitch black scene and crank the brightness up. I was so excited at the start of that fight. And I was wondering where the lighting was going to come from, and then they have all these like sick fires, you know, and there's dragon flame, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be so cool. And then the dragons like put the fires out, and it's just dark for the entire thing, and you can't see shit. I'm like, why would anyone do this? Why would they think anyone would want to watch an absence of it's a visual medium, you know? It's a fucking visual medium. Reminds me of one of the actors asked the shooting director where the lighting was coming from during the Battle of Helm's Deep. Gorgeously shot battle, right? And the director just said, the same place the music is coming from. It's like, yeah. Peter Jackson, the GOAT. I don't think that was Peter Jackson. Another director took over. I think also a noteworthy director. Anyway. Ooh. Google says Jackson did the OG trilogy and Hobbit movies. So the that doesn't mean that they're like on set, in person directing. Sometimes there's like sub directors and stuff underneath them. I could be misremembering. It turns out the person who asked the question was Sean Astin, and he asked the cinematographer, Andrew Lesney. Noteworthy for Babe, Pig in the City. And the first Babe. Android WK saying, confirming they did have multiple units for Lord of the Rings. I thought so. My brain's not completely screwed up, at least. Guess I gotta smoke some more, huh? Brain's not completely screwed up yet, Caleb. Sean Astin wasn't even at Helm's Deep. You can still ask about it. He's still allowed. Where's the lighting coming from? Sean Astin asked. Fuck you, you little shit. You're not even supposed to be in this scene. Not quite as good of a tale, is it? You're going to fire up the director's cut tonight, go through the whole trilogy this week? Very cool. That is an excellent target for a Ren and Sex. Lord of the Rings was too much exposition about the landscape and little backstories that go nowhere. A lot of people would say that that's the point, huh? Little backstories that go nowhere are like fleshing out the world, highlighting that not everything has to be character-centric. I have not read Wheel of Time. Is that bannable? Not like in the Lord of the Rings books? No, I don't think so. I read them when I was pretty young. I definitely liked them fine, but they weren't like the favorite. They weren't my favorite. I was reading a ton of fantasy at the time, and I wanted to get through them before the movies came out. And I was it was either 6th or 7th grade, I can't remember, but I remember convincing my friends to go to the movie for the first film. And I convinced them that 40 minutes ahead of time was necessary. And we showed up, and there was fucking nobody there. There was no line. I win! 204, not bad. I gotta not pay much attention to the match more often. That's going really well for me. I think we trophied the previous run doing that. This could be sick, huh? Just turn 2 Nissa, maybe. I do have to sack my 1 forest to play the Nissa, and then I can't really do anything after that. It doesn't seem very good, does it? Maybe I'm better off playing, like, Fable and a Bill, so the Fable can loop me into the next land. I think I dig that. Yeah, if we had a land drop for next turn, too, it'd be a little different. If I read the Malazan Books of the Fallen, I have not. That sounds like a strong recommendation, though. Guilty wins. Seemed like we were doing some good stuff there. I'm gonna throw that a braid in, I suppose. Over maybe just the Inti. Yeah. The Malazan books are the second most difficult series you've ever read, but they're really worth it. That sounds like it's not for me. I think I'd rather read like an accessible book in Old English than read something more dense and modern, you know? Because I overpaid a little bit here. You really enjoyed the Southern Reach series, but they're very weird. The Southern Reach series has been on my to-read list for a very long time. I've got them all sitting next on my nightstand. I brought Annihilation on like 3 different road trips now, and then just like never had time to read. Kind of clinging to this pyrokinesis, and I don't really need to be. Like, I could have pitch cast it there, is what I'm saying. Denied him a bunch of cards. This is 3, 6, 7, 8. Discworld. Yeah, I have a couple of those that I've been meaning to get to as well. Also have brought them on road trips before. I tapped like an idiot here. Because now I don't have 2 green for Bristly Bill. Well, might as well cycle. You have a Terry Pratchett bookshelf with every book he ever wrote? Nice. I started doing that with Alan Moore and super fucking gave up. I even tracked down his first writing credit, which was a terrible visual novel that went straight to VHS. dystopian sci-fi thing called Ragnarok. So Bill and I still seem pretty good together, gotta say. Graphic novel or visual novel? Visual novel. Like I said, went straight to VHS. ATV would be really good here. Cut it for something. Oh, a braid. Yeah, a braid would not be as good. It's kind of exciting. Is Lasny's your all-time favorite author? I think he's usually mine when I'm occasionally asked that question. I also have a soft spot for Avram Davidson. And I mentioned Alan Moore already. Oh, I just saw Chris Thorne's question. I've certainly read Lord of Light by Roger Zelazny. I really enjoyed his short stories. Hey, back-to-back trophies. Not fucking bad, huh? Not fucking bad. I was always really impressed with the variety.